the infamous Battle of Christmas Eve. Sylvan elves lined up on a broad line in a counterthrust battle against vampire counts in a bubble winged reapers, and we use these as vampire knights, altar of undeath, more vampire knights, 4 more. You got skeletons in the middle with the vampire counts.
The vampire count. And the corpse guard in the back with skeletons and a necromancer. So this is narrow versus wide.
Exactly.
So who will come out on top? So
the vampire count starts and measures up his bubble so that everything's within 6 inches of the corpse guard for summoning and within 12 of the general. And then he advances. Having no shooting except the altar of undeath and its magic, the vampire count is on the prowl. For blood, literally.
Dette.
Alaya jakta est.
4. Da blir det enten 4 eller 5, og så ser vi hvem av det blir. 4 opp, så blir det andre rekke.
Siphoning of the whale.
Ja.
For the first time.
Da blir det 5.
And we're getting number 5. This is the channel. 9 veil tokens. The vampire count's magic phase ends with 2 of the hereditary spell going through. The bound spell was the same hereditary spell from the staff, but it was dispelled. So there were raised tens and tens and tens of zombies and skeletons. And the player is placing these as we go into the next turn. The player also learns some valuable tricks about how the bubble has to be dimensioned to be able to give space to all the summoned models. Now we've come to Vampire Count's turn 2. The Vampire Count's skeleton unit chooses to charge the forest guards, which have moved up with the whole rest of the Sylvan Elf army in their first turn. They cast Truth of Time, so the spear-wielding wild huntsmen have an extra d6 to charge with next round. The other magic and shooting which came off shot down a couple of skeletons, but 5 wounds to the winged reapers from the Sylvan Sentinel's poison arrows. The spectral hunters charged the wild huntsmen. The skeletons charged the forest guards, and the zombies charged the treemen. So they are engaging from their safe position behind the corner of the building and attacking. The power just went out on Christmas Eve, so we're suspecting the vampire counts of devilish occult magic here. So far the Kestrel Knights won their combat. No, the Wild Huntsmen won their combat, being charged by these Spectral Hunters, which are gone. Pretty even match with Spearmen and Skeletons, but we'll be right back.
The Skeletons with the Vampire count charged the Spearmen and killed 7 Spearmen. The Spearmen killed 7 Skeletons back, but because of True Thirst Blade from the Vampire Lord, he resurrected 5 Skeletons back. The Spearmen lost the combat, but managed their leadership test. Here, the Treemen killed 6 zombies with stomp and the regular attacks. But the zombies only lost combat by 2 and lost in total 8 zombies. The blade dancers charge the zombies in the flank.
Let's see how we're...
The dryads charge the other zombies. And the wild riders charge the zombies in the flank.
Let's see. Regen saves for the zombies. Oh, the regen from the... That's from the cadaver wagon, right?
Yes.
Saved 4 zombies out of 23 dying against the dryads and the wild huntsmen in their flank.
19 zombies.
And the wild huntsman here charging the vampire knights killed 3 vampire knights including the crumble, but the knights killed 3 back.
Yes.
And now this combat with a vampire lord. After Sylvan Elf turn 2, many zombies and skeletons fall. In this unit it's halved. The skeletons are still plentiful, and now the vampire counts are charging in to the dangerous and reckless wild huntsman.
Det eneste som dumt at jeg får ikke regen her neste runde, fordi det var så mange som døde.
The region has helped a lot, but
Not really.
the cadaver wagon won't be able to get within 6 of the combats now.
Disse, har de mulighet for å charge ørnen din? De kan ikke se han, kanskje?
They cannot get through to charge the eagle, and not these 2 wild huntsmen either. They're blocked there. They can only charge these huntsmen by the zombies.
Og her, den har ikke plass til å charge de, så...
The Kestrel Knights are charged by the zombies. That's a daring move on both parts. The Altar of Undeath charges these wild huntsmen, and the rest regroup.
Yes, 12, 17,
17 on the casting
Nei.
of Arise.
21.
21. He's casting Arise with 5 dice from the Necromancer on the corpse cart, and he's trying to raise up everyone, including these zombies here who are just 10 left after their flank charge. So the vampires are really trying to raise themselves back into the game. The first bound spell from the Black Staff was dispelled.
Necromantic staff.
The Necromantic Staff was dispelled.
Hvor mange vel tokens har du nå, så du kan få dispelle? 3.
3 impacted from the altar, which charged into the Wild Huntsman.
Styrke.
Strength 5.
Jeg tror det.
This combat is resolved. It's still pretty even between the Vampire Lord and the Forest Guards. Neither side is tipping the battle, because the skeletons are racing so much. But these zombies will disappear soon, probably.
Styrke 5, toughness 3.
And these zombies might not be helped by the altar, we'll see.
Det vil si at det flere som slår tilbake også. Da det
10
som slår tilbake.
10 zombies strike back here after making 4 regen rolls against the Dryads. The zombies strike back. The Altar of Undeath killed 4 Wild Huntsmen.
The Dryads and the Wild Riders decimated the remaining zombies, and the Altar of Undeath unluckily crumbled along with the zombies. But it still managed to kill 4 Wild Riders and a lot of other units with its shooting attack and impact hits before it died. And now the Dryads are moving in to the skeleton's flank along with the Wild Riders. But hopefully the skeletons will last for one round until it can get some help from vampire knights and winged reapers.
After Sylvan Elf turn 3, the Oaken Throne is back on. The Briar Maidens came up to shoot, not very effectually, at the vampire knights. The Winged Reapers lost a wound to the Sylvan Sentinels, and the Eagle, ineffectually probably, tries to chaff with its one wound remaining. The Druids and Wild Huntsmen charge the side of the skeletons with a vampire courtier, and they're almost crumbling, but the Vampire Lord is still there. It's the Vampire Lord, of course. It's still there, and now it's hoping for support from the rear. Some very strong units which have arisen themselves out of the grave after being shot and kept building up, and they'll be ready to enter the fray now. The Treemen and Blade Dancers finish off the 60 strong zombie unit, or what it was at the beginning of the combat. And now it's Vampire Count, turn 4. And they have strong reserves. Oh, we forgot to play out the Kestrel Knight combat. We'll do that right now. I tell you, this is sensational. The zombies won against the Kestrel Knights, caught them in pursuit, and overran into the Wild Huntsmen. We're very curious about how this will go. On Vampire Count, turn 3, the Winged Reapers charge the Eagle, which flees. They redirect into the Wild Huntsman. The zombies charge the Wild Huntsman as well with the Necromancer, which is on the Vampire cart. On the Skeleton Corpse cart. And they'll be overrunning into the Druids pretty likely to save the Vampire Lord. The Vampire Knights charge the rear of the Druids, and the other Vampire Knights come from the other flank finally. A fleeing eagle, and combatants all over the place. A chaff unit summoned by the Vampire General. And here you have that general. The Sylvan Elf General, until now just avoiding a challenge with the extremely dangerous Duelist vampire, who is an eternal duelist of the bloodline of the dragon, Brotherhood of the Dragon. How can this end? The skeleton boss and the 2 Winged Reapers lost 1 wound and 1 Winged Reaper when charging the Wild Huntsman, but they both overran into the Druids, the general matriarch's unit. In the central combat there's an equal number of wounds on all sides, but the vampires have got the flanks and the rear. They got more ranks, so nobody is steadfast here. And even though the Vampire Count's units was decimated down to only the Vampire Count, they win the combat by 7, and we'll see, do the Forest Guard get Snake Eyes? No. Do the Druids get Snake Eyes? No. They're fleeing.
Så,
the Vampire Count tried to only pursue with the Vampire Knights, They did not catch the Dryads running, but the other two units failed their discipline check and had to pursue, and they caught the Dryads, who leapt all through the battlefield this way. The forest guards got away, and the Vampire Count tried to pursue. With his magical sword he raised 8 or 7 skeletons back to life, so he still has his entourage. On Sylvan Elf turn 4,
Du glemte combat her.
the forest guards rally, and the treeman does tree singing, moving the forest in front of these in case they'll charge, but we put up some sentinels there as well, covering behind the wall. They might be charging them as well. The eagle flies up to chaff the vampire knights. The sentinels fly behind. No, the Briar Maidens fly behind the Winged Reapers and shoot poison arrows, doing 1 wound. The sentinels here and the other sentinels behind the wall fire off at the Winged Reapers, doing 3 wounds in total. The treeman moves up bravely to hold the center, where the rest of the army and all the ranks fled. And the blade dancers deflect into the forest. Now it's Vampire Covenant turn 5, and they're charging with the knights into the eagle. The Winged Reapers charge the treeman. He does stand and shoot. All the charges go through. Inside the forest, Vampire Knights against Blade Dancers. Flank charge on the Wild Huntsmen, because they killed the zombies last round, the last combat. We forgot to take it, but the Wild Huntsmen couldn't reform, so they were forced to stand into the next round and be charged in the flank. That was because this little pesky chaff unit was too close to the Wild Huntsmen for them to reform without changing their center of the unit. So now the Vampire Counts are engaging on all fronts. It'll be a vital round. The general is out on an adventure with his skeletons. Went through the forest and almost lost a wound, but his ward save deflected the dangerous terrain. On round 5, the Vampire Count finishes off the forest guards, overruns the few who are left. The Vampire Knights only kill 1 Blade Dancer, but they don't kill any in return with their dance of whirling blades. The skeletons will with halberd kill all 4 remaining Wild Huntsmen. The Necromancer kills the last one. These Vampire Knights over here kill the eagle. The treeman kills 1 Winged Reaper, just doing 1 wound, and it loses 2 wounds itself. So the vampires are winning this battle. And we're finishing right here. It's been a long, grueling battle over several days for the future of Christmas, and Christmas is undead.